Welcome to another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show, Monday Night Football. Let's get ready to start. Let's get this show on the road. Hello, my name is Miso Vasquez from FootMexSource.com. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican football, Mexican soccer, whatever you like to call it. We're here to talk all about ese deporte que nos apasiona a nosotros a todos. Lots and lots of fun tonight on show. We'll be talking all about El Tri, Mexico versus Senegal on Wednesday. We'll be talking all about Liga MX. A couple of teams have not won yet, so all the discussion on Liga MX action, and also Europeos. What's going on with our favorite players abroad? But first, let's see who is on our show. The experts that give us their opinions. Let's see who's on. Mr. Tom Marshall. Tom, feels like I keep doing this introduction one more time. You're in Guadalajara, Chivas, Atlas, still not winning. Depression City. What's going on?
Thinking about moving to Monterrey. I mean, it seems like all the good teams are over there in Monterrey, and I'm here in Guadalajara, and can't even get a win between them. It seems like every week you're like struggling for points and stuff. But Monterrey top of the league, Tigres champion. It's it's a bit depressing, but I'm trying to get over it. I'm trying to work through it, and I'm sure I will with time and the help of my friends and family.
I like it. I'm moving to Monterrey just to have a winning city. Well, first time on the show, Mr. John Arnold. You know him from Goal.com. Been definitely a fan of the show. I've known this guy for a long time. John, how are you? You follow the Mexican national team. Here we are, 2 days away from Osorio's third game. And how's it going, man?
Hey, it's going well. Yeah, I'm excited for that game. I think it's going to be fun to see what changes Osorio makes with kind of the guys that we haven't seen before. Maybe see some of the guys who you wouldn't expect to see in the team that he's going to bring in. Maybe that starting lineup or maybe a big substitute role. So I think it's going to be a fun one, so there's plenty to watch and plenty to talk about.
Yes, definitely plenty to talk about, especially with the Mexican team who has 157 games in 1 year. So it keeps us really a lot of fun.
155 of those are in the U.S.
That's correct. That's it. Cesar Hernandez, you know him as... Cesar. Just Cesar. You know him as Cesar Hernandez. Cesar.
Call me Caesar, but whatever.
You're now in San Diego. Moved over from where the Super Bowl is at. You're like, I don't want anything to do with the Super Bowl, and I moved to San Diego because it was
What's
just
the
there.
Super Bowl?
Right? What's the Super Bowl? Europeos. Big talk because we almost had a scoreless Europeos weekend, but today on Monday, the two guys saved us. You ready for more action this week?
Dude, it was pretty exciting to see Diego. I mean, I think we should be talking about Carlos Vela because he had the goal and the assist.
He scores all the time.
Yeah, but the more exciting thing was Diego Reyes, who not only got the start and not only played as a defensive midfielder, but also got a goal himself for Real Sociedad today. So yeah, I'm here. I'm excited.
They got injured.
He got injured. I hopefully he's doing all right. Hey, a couple of guys had to help him carry him off the field around the 70th minute. So hopefully, Diego, if you're listening, I'm sure you're not. This is the last show I've ever listened to. But if you're listening, I hope you're doing all right, man.
They all listen. They all listen to the Mexican Soccer Show. Well, guys, we'll be talking, like I said, all about Mexico, Liga MX Jornada 5 and what to look for Jornada 6. And then obviously Europeos and what's going on. And throw in there some drama with the teams and all that can be happening. If you're not on the chat right now, get to a computer because it's so much fun. I hear that's one of the best parts about the show is live commenting that's happening on the YouTube page. Already we have some new profiles, some faces that we've never seen before. But saying hi to Mr. Christopher Ortuno, Joel, Antonio Ortiz, the Pancho Villas guys are there, to talk all about what's going on. I know they're going to be in Miami for the Mexico-Senegal game.
I think we just lost Suizo.
So should be. I'm still on, dude. I'm still on.
Oh, okay, there's a little pause.
There we go. Little pause. Here we go. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get started, and let's go ahead and just talk about El Tri. Mexico versus Senegal on Wednesday. Like I said, Juan Carlos Osorio's third game. He hasn't lost yet. He hasn't tied this game, which is not a FIFA date for some of you that are wondering to see all of the Europeos. It's just going to be Liga MX teams and players, but excluding some of the Chivas. And I'd like to kind of go into that before this little controversy that happened in the last week where Chivas was surrounding, the talk about Chivas not giving some of the players that should be on the national team, and that said, hey, you know what, we need them because we're suffering, we're struggling. And I kind of want to hear these, your thoughts, guys, on that. Not necessarily, is the Mexican team above the clubs, which I feel it should be so, but the pick and choosing of when to send players. And I like to start with a quote from Tuca, who has turned a completely 180. But Tuca saying that not to complain about El Tri when they do badly, when we're not giving all the players and giving all the attention to them. He also said something about having way too many games also with El Tri. But Tom, 3 years ago, Tuca Ferretti por Partido Molero. It looks like when he went to Mexico and he coached Mexico, saw obviously you need all that all the attention and all the players where they need to be, especially if there's a call up. What is this controversy that's going on? I mean, and do you agree? Anytime Mexico plays, doesn't matter if it's friendlies, if it's partidos moleros, if it's whatever, we should be able to give the teams up and not to complain.
Yeah, I think there's 2 points here with this issue. The first one is that if Portugal wanted Ronaldo for a midweek friendly in February, with big games coming up in the league, no, they're not going to let him go. They're not going to let any of the players go. That's why the Euro-based Mexicans don't come. So it is Mexican football, and the way they run the national team it's just different. It doesn't exist in other places. So I think that's the first thing to factor in. Secondly, this was agreed beforehand. You know what I mean? All of the Liga MX owners knew perfectly well there was going to be a February friendly. There's one every year. Maybe late January or early February. There's always a friendly with Liga MX domestic-based players. So I think that Chivas are completely out of order with knowing that. Now, if we want to have a debate about whether Mexico should be playing, a B or C team from Senegal in Miami, then that's a different debate. But for me, Vergara's agreed to this friendly, and for him to now backtrack because his club's in trouble, for me it opens a can of worms. Because if Chivas do it this time, what about the next club who's in a bit of trouble? Or what happens if Pachuca or Santos were like, we've got CONCACAF Champions League coming up, we're not letting the players go, and then Tigres did the same, and then all of a sudden it's like, who's going to play?
So I think you brought this up too, Tom. Like, do you really blame Chivas at this point? The difficult situation they are in right now. They're not Dorados. Dorados, obviously it looks like they're the #1 relegation candidates. But when they're struggling at this point this season, do you really blame them for only letting one player go? I mean, given that one player had a red card, Carlos Salcedo, and I made a joke on Twitter that maybe he got that red on purpose in order to be able to play. But I'm mostly joking in that situation. But do you really blame Chivas for making that decision to keep those players?
It shouldn't even be a question, though, if they all agreed. I mean, tough luck. I mean, that's how it is. That's what happens.
Yeah, I think the other side to the conversation is, what about the players? Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine that someone like Carlos Peña or Raul Lopez or Oberlin Pineda wouldn't want to go with the national team. I think they will be very disappointed that they're not with the team right now in Miami.
Well, that's the thing that kind of puzzles me, Tom, because you look, and I think Chivas, as you mentioned, is well within their rights to say, we don't want to send our players, or, you can only have this player, you can't have this player, or maybe work something out with a manager. And you see other teams like the United States who have these friendlies during these non-FIFA windows, who work with the teams who, Jurgen Klinsmann works with the managers. I think Osorio does the same thing. It's fair enough to say these players can't go, but then you look at a guy, Omar Bravo came out and said, I would rather play for the national team. The national team is the most important thing to me. Some of the young players who you mentioned, I think they want that chance. Osorio is going to give players chances at this friendly. These are what the friendlies are for these players to get formed, to get ready for the summer, and they just don't get that chance. And if you're going to say we're the most important club in Mexico, which Chivas does, and if you're going to say we represent the Mexican people better than any other club, it seems a little incongruous to me to then turn around and say, but we're not El Tri. We're not helping out El Tri. We're doing our own thing because that's what we're going to do.
And do you think it's just because it's Chivas and it's Vergara? I mean, let's just say León. Let's say another smaller team that, has got some players in there, Pachuca, and just says, we're not going to do it. I feel like this is more Vergara. This is just Chivas. That's the only team that maybe could. I know America did have some, also there was rumors also that didn't want to send some players. But
no, Vergara said that Vergara said that he's kind of dictated this conversation. Yeah, it's arrogance. It's arrogance from Chivas, arrogance from Vergara. Because they've claimed for so many years that they're the backbone of the national team, and then at this point they won't send the players. But this is the other point for me. Why is this public? Why is Vergara speaking about this on Fox, on ESPN, on Televisa, Azteca? Everybody's everywhere. He's talking about it. Jaime Ordiales, the sporting director, is talking about it. Matias Almeida's talked about it. But why? And then Vergara's having a go at Osorio and saying, Osorio, you don't know, the history of our club, the importance of our club. It's like, why are you arguing? Why is this even out there? You know what I mean? This should have been something done behind closed doors, and nothing got leaked out. It should have been very tightly shut. And I think then you can, like John was saying, then you come to an arrangement and you say, okay, you can take these three. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I feel like because it's become so public, both sides are kind of becoming entrenched and kind of, now there's a little battle on.
And this is also affecting the Olympic squad from Potro Gutierrez. Gutierrez also coming out and saying that he would like to have some of those Chivas players that in the concentración. So interesting arguments. It feels like this isn't the first time we've talked about this. It comes out every year on players, and it's usually at the end of the season when there's important games, playoffs, or you're going to make it to the playoffs or something like that. Not so early. I mean, I know they're losing and they're not winning, and taking those players are very, very important. But at the same time, I mean, it's the beginning of the season, and
I think it's also because it's a vital year for the national team. It's not just when there's World Cup qualifiers. You also have the Olympics coming up. You have the Copa America coming up. So I think that might be part of the reason why.
Start now.
Start
rejecting players now.
start. No, I think they just maybe that's why there's more of an emphasis to see these players performing, even in a friendly against Senegal in a 30-something thousand capacity stadium in Florida. So I mean, I think even at that point, I think there are a lot of people who are wondering how some of these younger, even as we mentioned, the younger players who also had a call up recently could compete.
The other thing that's a bit of a puzzle to me is, I think Liga MX has done a good job accommodating some of those. You look at some of the teams that were affected by call-ups to even the Gold Cup, games being delayed, games were moved for the U20 World Cup. Pachuca had 5 guys gone, I think, so they, moved some games around. I think if you say, okay, after there's a Wednesday, a 3 friendly, maybe we don't have Friday matches, we move those to Sunday or something like that. So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think there's other ways you could go about this rather than drag it through, bring it out into the public and air your dirty laundry like you were saying, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, just moving the conversation on a little bit.
Can't do that.
I mean, what's the point in this friendly? That I don't like. I'm excited.
We know what the point is.
All right, yeah, you can make. Yeah, you got a contract with some that you got to fulfill a certain amount of friendlies. All right, honestly, this is my take on this game. I'm excited to see the young players, especially Lozano and Gutierrez, for the first time wear a Mexico shirt. Because I think it's going to be the first game of many that those two are going to play for the national team. Pizarro and Salcedo coming back. Yeah, I'm excited to see them. Apart from that, I know I don't want to sound too negative, but I'm looking at the squad and I'm like, Palacios and Chuy Corona in goal. I'm like,
they're the best, Tom. They're the best,
And then Gerardo Rodriguez from Toluca who completely failed at Chivas. I don't know. I'm looking at some of these players and I'm like, honestly, I mean, but I think it says something else, this squad, and I think it says that the Europe-based players now are probably, I don't know if this is an exaggeration, but more important than ever. I mean,
especially in the way they're doing now. But Tom, you say why this? John, you cover all of CONCACAF. There's a lot of CONCACAF teams that are having friendlies in the last week. The U.S. had 2 friendlies to have it, and Costa Rica also had another friendly. I think Venezuela, which they lost. So I think a lot of the CONCACAF teams, since they're getting ready for the qualifiers, are getting prepared for that. Those teams that are coming. We have El Salvador, we have Canada coming up next month already. Yeah. So for me, I know that Partidos Moleros, but I think this is a necessary game for us to have, and there wasn't a FIFA date, which kind of is interesting that there wasn't a FIFA date before the qualifiers, because I figure like there usually is something there that's going on, but I think because it's of the Euro and all that's happening, there wasn't enough FIFA dates, and they moved them up to later in the year. But John, CONCACAF is doing it, right? I mean, everyone's having
and the Copa screwed with that too. I mean, that made the schedule a little more compact when you added a summer tournament, because usually those dates in the summer you could use for qualifiers. Now you can't do that because it's going to be the Copa. Honduras is playing some matches as well. Guatemala's playing. There's a bunch of teams are playing. I think the difference between a lot of those teams is that most of those teams are mostly domestic based. It's good for Mexico, I think, that you have most of the guys that you need playing in Europe. That's always what you want, right? I mean, that you want your best players playing in the best possible league, getting minutes like Chicharito is. I do think there is a pretty strong element in this game of commercial necessity. I don't know that we would be having this friendly. I don't know that we would be having it against Senegal if it weren't for those commercial factors that are driving this game. But I think there's more than just the young guys getting a look. I'm interested to see if maybe Luis Montes gets another look. I mean, he's a guy who had a really bright future, I think, with the national team before that injury, obviously. He hasn't really been able to slot in and claim a place since then. So, I mean, I think this is a chance for a guy like him to maybe get a couple minutes. We mentioned, I mean, we're joking about the guys in goal, which I understand, but I think they could make an impact. One of those guys could end up as like the third keeper for the Copa this summer, or even get an Olympic spot or something like that. So, I think there's stuff to be learned from this game, but I think Tom's definitely right in saying that this probably wouldn't be a game if it weren't for the fact that Mexico does have this contract with some to make a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if anything, if we're looking at the very least what this game is accomplishing, is like we are learning about the depth that the Mexican national game, and it's also in a way you can kind of say this is a preparation game for Mexico's upcoming World Cup qualifiers against Canada next month. So I think that's something to be said at the very least there. So you could say, I don't know, that Osorio is looking at, for example, those youngsters from Pachuca, see how they can do in this situation. Maybe if they step up, maybe they could be an option in the future. But that being said, no, it's as like if we're taking a step back, if I'm seeing this as a Mexico fan, I look at this roster and there are multiple players that just they would never be in my radar.
Yeah.
Like Candido Ramirez.
for his team.
Yeah, he hasn't. Yeah, he doesn't play. He's only played with like the under-20 squad and plays at Copa MX stuff, and just I know it's a strange. Other than maybe a few standouts on that roster, there are a lot of strange names that stand out to me from that call-up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to be too negative, but obviously, I think Jürgen Damm, I think, is a contender to be a starter. Aquino's left, not gonna be in Miami, but he's another one who's around there. And then I think you've got Torres Nilo, who for me is the left back now. But apart from that, I can't see any of these players even starting in qualification. I know that the squad, the fringe players, they're all there and stuff, but I can't even see these players like even fighting at the minute for like Picolín. I mean, I know that's
I feel bad for Picolín because Picolín has to be perfect. Yeah. Like whether it be 45 minutes, whether it be 90 minutes, he can't make a single mistake. I'm not saying that I think he deserves a chance. I think he had a decent season with Pumas last season in the Apertura. But that being said, like he can't make a single mistake in net at all whatsoever because there's so many options above him, and I feel bad for the guy.
I think the one thing that I would say, kind of in summation, is that yes, there are a lot of fringe guys who are not going to be part of the Copa America roster, guys who might also not be part of the Olympic roster, guys who might not factor for Mexico in the long term, but that's also part of the allure of this game to me, is that you have a manager in Juan Carlos Osorio who's shown he's not afraid to take risks, he's not afraid to do things that really buck conventional wisdom. I mean, I think if you polled the majority of people who watch, Mexico fans, Mexico media people, I think the majority would not put Miguel Ayun at right back, right? We wouldn't do some of the things that he's doing, and we wouldn't make some of the calls that he's making, but I think that's part of the allure of this game, is that we've never seen Juan Carlos Osorio manage an essentially what's a meaningless match. How is he going to approach it? Is he going to give these guys who are real fringe guys big-time chances? Is he going to totally ignore them? I mean, look, you do have to look for a little bit of a lure in this game, like we said, but I think that might be some of the excitement for this match, is to see how Osorio approaches it.
Yeah, I think for Osorio, the most important thing is, I don't even think it's necessarily what goes on the field, although he will have specific instructions for for the players that he wants to see. At the end of the day, these players play week in, week out against better teams than Senegal's B team. I mean, I think Liga MX teams are better than that. But I think it's more going to be Osorio getting to know these, especially the younger players, getting to know him, being around him, seeing him in training, and really getting a sense of where they're at in terms of their development and how quickly after the Olympics that those guys are now going to be moved up. And there are some players that I think are interested. I think the other semi-interesting thing about this squad is
semi-interesting. If there's anything to take from this,
there are a few players like coming back that I think they're quite interesting. Israel Jimenez, at the Olympics, Torres Nilo, two players that played under Chepo quite regularly. Zavala from Monterrey, he was regular there. I mean, these players have got quite a lot of caps. They've got quite a lot of interesting experience already. So, I think those are a few players that you expect they'll be hoping to impress Osorio and can genuinely become kind of either Torres Nilo, I think, first choice, or Jimenez kind of at least on the roster. And Zavala, I don't know. I think that the midfield positions are. I don't know. I think he offers something a bit different, although I'm not sure his national team quality.
No,
Speaking
Zavala
of players that are going, that we wanted to see, Javier Aquino, who I think everybody is definitely a starter for me in the 11 that at least out of this group. Now some news coming out that got hurt over the weekend in its game, so now will be a baja for the for the national team, and Juan Carlos Osorio not replacing him, which makes sense, not bring somebody else just to come and play and not see them. So I think that not necessarily a huge blow, but it opens up someone else coming in. Maybe now we get to see Irving Lozano or even now Dr. Cándido Pérez, Dr. Cándido Ramírez, now in la selección. So I think it does open up some players at least, but nothing else coming out of the camp. I know that the players now just arrived to Miami. They were seen in the airport about a couple hours ago. They're there. They're going to be practicing in that baseball stadium, Marlins Park, I think, with the venue. So a baseball stadium, used for the field again. Especially all the controversy I know in the camps where in U.S. women's getting all these like baseball stadiums and artificial turfs. We'll see how the field is in baseball, especially during the winter. It is Florida, so hopefully that's ready to go. So what else can we talk about going in? Possible start in 11. I haven't really looked at the list really to get an 11. In fact, I think this is the first time where I have no idea what Juan Carlos Osorio is going to. I tried. I really did try to get some, but I couldn't get.
I think we're all starting to recognize. I mean, I think in the last couple games we've learned that we can't really predict the exact thing that Osorio will do in every match. I think if anything, you see the players available. You see, for example, you look at some of the teams that he's been starting, like in the practices recently. And to me, it seems like he's going to be starting a 4-3-3. I don't think he's going to move away from that 4-3-3. Henry Martin and Lalo Herrera are the only strikers available. Makes me think that he's just going to have one forward up there in a 4-3-3 formation. Other than that, I mean, I really don't know.
We do know that Picolín will be in goal, and then another half will be who's also called
Chuy Corona, yeah.
Chuy. I was like, wait, what said Chuy?
I was also interested, Cesar, that they're only, there's Martin and there's Lalo Herrera. In the initial call, I feel like, I might be wrong, Irving Lozano, I thought I saw him listed as a forward. I mean, obviously he's a guy who can create a lot of attack, especially if it's in a 4-3-3. Maybe you see him on the left side. And that's something to keep an eye on too, right? I mean, we've all seen his talent with the U20s, with Pachuca. Even though he didn't score, I thought he had a pretty decent game against Pumas, although, it was a difficult match for him, but we've seen him grow. We all think, at least I do, and Tom has said he does, think that he's going to be a big star for Mexico. How does he adapt to playing a position that maybe he's not super familiar with, or slotting in or gelling with a team that maybe he doesn't know very well? That's something to watch.
I think now that Aquino is out, though, because I feel like Aquino could have been in that left midfield position, if we somehow started him as a second striker, the only other option would be Cándido Ramírez right there in that left spot. Maybe you have someone else playing that position, but I feel like I think it might be a little difficult. So I assume he's going to be. I mean, who knows? Like as we mentioned, who knows with Osorio? Who knows?
I'm excited to see.
Decide to do.
I'm excited to see Henry Martin. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he works hard. It's fun.
I'm excited to see how he does and having that, because just like Tom mentioned in a couple podcasts ago, we have no forwards. I have no Mexican forwards that can come up. I mean,
he does do something kind of
there.
different than a lot of the Mexican forwards that have been great. You know, you look at it, you know, Chicharito, Oribe, Lalo Herrera. You know, these are guys who use their size well and make smart runs. Martinez very fast, very quick. And so I think a lot of times, not to say he's in the wrong places, but he doesn't necessarily find the spots as well as some of the other forwards. I think he uses that speed to maybe be a little more, you know, he'll come at you a little bit more. So he's a player who maybe you want to see in the roster and want to see have success for Mexico because, you know, frankly, there hasn't been a guy who's just that change of pace, really fast, really difficult guy to deal with. You know, as a forward, Jürgen Damm obviously very quick on the wing.
I think that Aviles Hurtado. I was watching him the other day for Chiapas, and he I know he's a naturalized Mexican and he's not quite ready yet, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if he's the next naturalized players to get called up.
When is he eligible?
I'm not sure, I can't remember. I think he's not far off though. He's one of the soonest. He's not a brilliant player. I don't think his final product is what it should be, but you're watching him when Chiapas were playing against Tigres and Chiapas went down to 10 and then 9 men. I don't know, his ability to go past players and kind of the speed he has is Mexico don't have another player like that apart from maybe Jürgen Damm.
I mean, just based off just really quick Googling, it looks like he signed a contract with Pachuca back in 2012, December of 2012.
Yeah, so 5 years, 2017.
17.
Well, things
December
that are happening
of 2017. December, yeah.
On the chats, you know,
for the World Cup.
saying a couple of things that are saying are, you know, maybe we should just send the U23s to this friendly.
Yeah,
and
I would be down with
that. Ivan Fernandez said that. Also on the chat, where's Naib? You know, coming up a couple of times on there, saying on the.
Is that the ladies? The ladies asking that.
The ladies are saying for Naib.
They called him up. They need an extra central midfielder. So
Joel said partido sin trascendencia. Excited to see Jerry Flores, la selección azteca 13.
Excited to see Jerry Flores. Come on.
Yeah, Picolín y 10 más. So if you're not on the chat,
I'm going out. I love Picolín, man. I love Picolín. He's brilliant. I mean, you know, he's the emotion that he puts into the game, the stupid things he does when I remember in the final, was it the final or was it against America when he just flopped down?
I think that was the semis. I think that was the semis.
That was the semis, yeah.
Completely flopped down and he was like, what are you doing? But, you know, he makes brilliant saves. But, you know, behind that, he can make some ridiculous mistakes as well. So he is an exciting player. I think he's a good Liga MX player. Same with Jerry Flores. I mean, I have nothing against it. I think he's a decent player, you know. That's why he played yesterday, Chivas against Toluca, you know, right wing back. He's good. I like him, you know what I mean? But that step up from being a good Liga MX player to international, I think for a few of these players that I'm seeing in this squad, is difficult. You know, I don't see him being at that level.
Picolín, he's loving the call up, that's for sure. I
yeah.
don't know if you guys have seen his Twitter account, but like his past 10 posts, it's just like his profile picture with like the Mexican national team crest. His like the background is like him and the national team like gear, and like all his last posts have just been all about the Mexican national.
It's a story.
Depriving their players. That's what Chivas is depriving their players.
All right, guys, we can keep talking obviously about El Tri, but we must move on to our next topic. Europeos, the only excuse to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. You know, another weekend of great football from our Europeos, especially, you know, the news coming out of that Layun has the most, I think, the most or tied for the most assists in the league. You know, having now Rodrigo Reyes scoring
right now, yeah, in Portugal.
One of the leaders in the league. Chicharito, very exciting match against, you know, the best team in Germany. A lot of people talking about him, you know, not be able to score against the best, but I guess neither the best score against smaller teams. But Cesar, what can you tell us about last weekend? We know that, like I said at the beginning, Diego Reyes and Carlos Vela saved us because we were all getting antsy to see who was going to score and keep that streak going in 2016. They're scoring. But Cesar, what's going on? Jonathan Dos Santos, Alan Pulido, Guardado, still obviously injured and not coming back. But what's going on?
I mean, I guess over the weekend, if we're just talking strictly Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I mean, the highlight might have been Layun giving an assist for Porto. They lost 2-1 to Aruca, but that's now his 16th assist in all competitions. It just shows so much about how much he's developed as a player. Since leaving, since going back to Europe for a second time in early 2015. It could have been actually like a fairly boring weekend. I think Mexico fans, we've kind of become accustomed, and I think we've talked about this in the last episode, the last podcast, that we now expect a goal in every single week. We now expect something big. So other than that, the only other player during the weekend who had a goal and assist was Marco Fabian. He provided a last-second assist for Eintracht Frankfurt in the 2-4 loss to Stuttgart. So it was kind of a mediocre weekend in comparison to the weekends we've had in the past. But today, and as I mentioned in the intro, Real Sociedad, they thrashed, they demolished, they
5-0, right?
Yeah, they demolished Espanyol. It was Vela had two goals and 1 assist. He had 1 goal and 1 assist, and even Diego Reyes, who got the start as defensive midfielder, and he did an excellent job. He got a goal as well off a corner. It was off a header for him. So I think for me, if we're going to look for a highlight for the Europeos within the past few days, it was definitely today. It was that 5-0 game for Reyes, and who made a very strong case for himself as defensive midfielder.
But so the one thing. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was just going to ask you, because I watched that game as well. I thought he did really well as defensive midfielder. But to me, for Mexico, you need Diego Reyes to be the center back of the future, don't you?
Yep.
So him being a defensive midfielder is nice. Maybe it's kind of like Rafa 2.0, but like,
no.
Do you want him to? Okay,
No.
Do you want him to be succeeding at D mid? Do you want him to get minutes at center back? I think any minutes are good, but you also kind of want him to be in the right position, right?
Short-term goals. I want Diego Reyes to get minutes, because right now it looks like Eusebio Sacristan is not really willing to play him as a center back. Mm-hmm. Long-term goals, yeah, dude, I totally agree with you. Right now, he would be, in my idea of a perfect, 2 center backs right now for the Mexican national team would be Hector Moreno as the left center back and Diego Reyes as the right center back. Right. At this moment, Real Sociedad, they're not willing to play him in that position. So you do actually, that is an excellent point. That I thought he was going to be the next Rafa. At this point, I don't know. It's season after season where he's not actually becoming that player. I still feel he's still young. He's 23. He's
24,
23.
25.
No, he's 20. I think he's 23. So is he 22?
No, I thought he was. Regardless of what it is, I think we've all been trying to get to Diego Reyes be that player. He's in Europe. He's playing, and this start, because one thing that we were talking about a couple weeks back was who's really struggling out there. I know we mentioned a little bit of Raúl Jiménez. Diego Reyes came up. Not only starting but scoring, and regardless of what position he is, just because you played in that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be used somewhere else. We've seen that with
certainly, and Osorio certainly seems willing to mix it up as well.
And especially with the 4-3-3.
I guess, but if we're talking about Reyes playing as a defensive mid, he has a lot of competition with the national team. If for some reason he's going to be that defensive midfielder,
which I don't think.
Gaito and Jonah are just
Who else would be there if Diego Reyes? I mean, in the back line, Hector Moreno. I mean, who else can really take Diego Reyes if he's moved up or he's not playing? I mean, Diego Reyes is playing. I still see him coming back in that. Layun, Aguilar on the sides, and Diego Reyes and Hector Moreno in the middle. So I don't see anybody else.
Tom, let's look at your depth chart that you.
There hasn't been. I'm saying there's not like a definitive person. Watch out, Diego Reyes, because you have somebody right behind you.
Salcedo's not a good start, but he's someone who can play on the right side.
You guys keep talking about Salcedo. He's not coming up. I feel I want to make this dream of Salcedo finally making it. He
was unbelievable last year. He just had a little a bad spell this year so far, and I think there's so much speculation about his future and going to Europe that maybe that might have affected him. But I think the call up for Salcedo in particular, will be a major boost. I think he's exactly what he needs. He's had a poor start, but Osorio's kind of saying, "Look, I like you. I like what you've done. Come into the camp." And I think it might give him a boost. I think we might see a different Salcedo after the national team game.
Let's hope so. Jason Markowitz, who here in the Mexican Soccer Show, usually join us on some of the Mondays, say, who? Massa Rodriguez is right there.
So Massa, Ayala. Got Cesar Fuentes for Monterrey coming up.
There you go, buddy.
Jordan Silva, I think, for Toluca. I think there's some good young Mexican centre backs, but I think they're a couple of years off as well.
Yeah, no, that's entirely true. That's entirely true.
As far as what's going up next week, I know Chicharito has tomorrow game for Europa League, right?
No, actually, I think it's the
Copa, yeah.
I think it's.
Cup.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Is it the DFB Pokal? Is that what it is?
Was it the Copa?
Yeah.
Kind of like
It's the German Cup.
the German Cup.
The DFB Pokal.
On Chicharito, I thought, he didn't score, but I thought the fact that just he was on Fox, the real Fox in the U.S., was exciting. Not that he did anything to do. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he did. Like, obviously, the marketing impact he has continues to be big. He was on, broadcast TV in the United States.
Was he really on regular Fox?
It was on Big Fox. Yeah, man.
It was on Big Fox.
Miami. Sorry, Miami. Yeah, he was on Big Fox. He had a pretty good game. I mean, I think that, just because you don't score as a forward doesn't mean you had a poor game. I thought he was good. Obviously, you want to score, but when you are going up against the best team in the world, their defense was a little banged up. But I mean, I think the fact that he, had some good moments is notable.
Yeah, and it was decent. I think obviously, Leverkusen weren't looking to be an all-attacking team. I think they were looking to be pressing in that match, but they weren't looking to throw all their players forward and try to provide. Cross the board and try to provide, pass to Chicharito. I think
he did have that shot.
He did have that shot. I think
everyone was crazy for that shot.
Yeah, Chicharito was taking the situation in his own hands. He's like, you know what? Like, I'm not getting a lot of passes for obvious reasons. We're trying to sit back a little bit, be more conservative, also like press him when it's correct. But he just had the ball within, like, he had a good position to hit a long shot, and he almost scored. Could have been if that was just with
my gosh, if that would have went in, it would have been in.
I would have been talking about it for months.
Everyone's. There's a little talk about him in Bayern Munich. There were some rumors already looking for him, and it kind of makes sense. It looks like that type of team, kind of takes us kind of like the America, takes the best players around the leagues and puts them up. But and what we're saying that how would that impact? Or that was a question from Twitter.
Yeah, from Brian RMW.
Yeah, from Brian, great guy, friend of the show. I've known him for a while in big soccer. Brian asked, if Bayern Munich called him, would that be okay, Tom? To you, should he stay in Leverkusen to 1, 2, 3 seasons or make that jump? That would be what other Mexican has played in 3 huge clubs in different leagues. I mean, it'd be huge for him, but will he get those minutes? And do they believe in him again?
It is a difficult one. I mean, obviously, it seems obvious he should stay. It seems obvious everything's going well, getting all the attention. The team plays, I think, to a style that really suits his game. Is the big star of the team, and I think from the club's point of view, the impact that the club has made now in the United States, especially, and in Mexico, is huge. I mean, it seems like a really good fit. However, the lure of a club like Bayern Munich coming in for you is huge. We saw it when Chicharito went from United to Real Madrid. But I don't know. I don't think he's going anywhere. And, I'm not sure that Munich is the right place for him. At the minute, I think that I don't know. I think he's fine where he is. You know what I mean? I think that he's got time as well. He's still pretty young. You know what I mean? So if he has another amazing season after this one, and then Munich come in and it seems plausible that he is going to be a starter, then why not? But I think at the minute he needs a couple of seasons where he's playing week in, week out.
And not only playing week in, week out, but playing with the same guys. Even at Real Madrid, yes, of course, when he got in, he was able to score sometimes. He was playing in different systems, different formations. I mean, I think it would benefit him a lot as a player. Also, for him to get to Bayern, a lot of things would have to change, right? Like the Lewandowski to Real Madrid link would have to come through. They'd have to not buy anybody who came out of Real Madrid and that fallout. I don't know. I don't see it as super realistic. I think also it's very tempting to, after someone plays that team, their scouts liked him. They were interested. And it's fun to talk about. I think he could do really well there in this hypothetical world. But I do think he'd be better served right now being around the same people, being around the club, maybe getting a little kind of actual downtime without having to worry about his club situation. It's been a little while since he's had an off season where he hasn't had to worry about something or other. So I think this could be nice if he doesn't go to Bayern. He's also been linked with Arsenal, other clubs, and everyone's read those reports, and they are fun to talk about. But I think right now the best thing for him would be to stay. Will he do that? I think so. I think he's going to stay. That's my That's my fearless prediction.
I think Mexico fans, like such as myself, we hear about Chicharito, we see how well he's doing, we see how effective he is with those goals per minute ratio, and we expect Chicharito to be on a team like Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Manchester United. We love this idea of him being at the top of the very top of the top in world soccer. But I think we have to be realistic and recognize, as you mentioned, he does need to be playing with the team regularly. He needs, as you mentioned, he can't be having an off season where things will be stressful about where he moves. And I think right now, what's best for Chicharito is he needs to stay with Bayer Leverkusen, whether it be for another season, maybe it's 2 seasons, but right now he's thriving, he's doing very well. I think we should be happy for him because that. I personally would not want him to go to Bayern Munich because I don't know if that would actually confirm, but I don't know if that would actually mean that he's secure any idea that he'll actually find the same amount of success that he's finding right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing, I know I've mentioned it before, probably last week, but Chicharito's never been the starter for Mexico in a World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine if he ends his career and he's never been a starter, and he's obviously going to be the highest goal scorer ever. He's going to be top 3, I think, best ever for Mexico. When he ends his career, if he he continues as he is, and it's like, can you imagine that? And I think that he's seen what not playing for his club team can do, and so I think in the back of his mind he'll be like, wait up. The Mexico have got some decent strikers as well, so I need to be playing regularly for my club to make sure that I'm an automatic. Because look at Brazil 2014, it was, when you look back, it was ridiculous they didn't play. I know he hadn't got many minutes for Manchester United, but you look at what he's achieved in his career and what he's achieved for the national team, and he's not starting. I mean, I know at the time when you're in the moment, you're kind of like, oh yeah, Oribe Peralta, Giovanni Dos Santos, but when you look at it now and you're like, banging in goals, it's like it makes no sense. So I think that's something that he will be taking into account ahead of obviously 2018.
Mm-hmm. For me, keep going. What he's doing. I mean, he's happy. He's getting minutes. He's scoring. I think when contracts are up, really take into that, but not not to leave a contract. Not to it's okay.
Yeah.
I don't see him getting unless it's some huge pay and it's forced by the club. But I think he's happy. I think he's ready to go, and I think he's loving the fact that he's playing. So
I think 3 years there. Is it?
Yeah, I think it's 3 years, and then MLS.
So 3 years. Yeah, he'd be 30. I mean, that's not so far gone that you can't do you can't go into the next. Can't get one more big contract, or go to Major League Soccer. You're still in your prime, and then
that's my prediction. He's going to do that. I think after the World Cup in 2018, I could see him going to, whether it be maybe in early 2018, maybe he'll go after the World Cup, but I think he's going to be looking at LAFC.
That guy's been saying
LAFC is going to offer him something pretty nice, and they'll be like, "Hey, we got one of the biggest Mexican American populations."
I guarantee you they've already offered that.
There's a big difference between them and Orlando.
I'm going to say 30. I'm going to say 30. He's going to define. He's going to be like, you know what? I'm still not done. And just like he's been proving us wrong ever since he went on the national team with Chivas and everything, he'll still try to either come back to Chivas, he'll try to be in Europe. I see him at the MLS until it's the last, the last way he really can do.
The last one will be Chivas. I think Chivas they'll be the last stop.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just don't. He comes back here and it's just. I think it'll be MLS and then Chivas.
Yeah, I think I'm guessing. Guessing after the 2018 World Cup.
You're all wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, there is something to be said. I think it does depend on on what kind of the lay of the land in MLS is, how good the offer is, that kind of thing. I mean, there's a lot of factors to consider. I could see him saying, I'm still young. I'm going to sign one more big European contract and then go back to North America. But we'll see. I mean, I think, hopefully he can keep this form up, and then after that.
You guys keep thinking that the MLS, China's going to take him. They're like they're in front of the MLS right now on signing. So, I mean, the MLS has a lot of competition.
Remember, it's MLS, not the MLS. We got to work on this, man.
MLS.
We got to work on this. Don't make me go back again.
He doesn't need that money, though.
Yeah.
He doesn't need that money like some of these.
So he doesn't need to play. If he doesn't need that money, he doesn't need to go to MLS.
Yeah,
no, but it's such a comfortable life there. Such a nice life for a player, for a Mexican player compared to playing in Mexico, where you're absolutely hassled all the time.
And China's going to pay more for Jackson.
Guys, he's going to LA. He's going to be hassled all the time.
Look,
TMZ is going to be there. You're going to see the hits. every time Chicharito is like, we got Chicharito coming out of whatever. Like, get ready for the Chicharito madness in LA. Get ready for that. But enough Chicharito talk, enough Europeo. Will be fun to see this weekend. Yeah, he'll be coming out of that. I'd like to, let's go ahead and talk about Liga MX. And what I like to call, I got the crown on because in our prediction, I was able to just obliterate everyone. And I was able to just kick butt. We didn't even need Sunday's game, and I was already ahead by 7 or 3 or 4. So we'll see how it is. We'll get to wear the King's crown on Liga MX. I was almost perfect until Leon, until Tena was able to just.
You can't pick with your heart. Can't pick with your heart.
No, I tied last week. No, I picked Leon to win. I mean, but everyone picked Leon. No one. I think there was a draw on there, and then obviously Luis Fernando Tenas, lovely, parking the bus, and we're able to do that. So I'll take that off, but it's kind of annoying. But let's talk about Liga MX. Obviously, didn't want to compete against the Super Bowl, and only had one game on Sunday. But that Super Bowl, very Tuca Mourinho. It was all defense. I mean, there were no. I mean, can you imagine? Everyone talks about no goals and ties, but when it comes to football, defense games, defense wins, whatever it is. But anyways, Liga MX game, lots of excitement, especially with the teams they're talking about. We're gonna go over the scores in a minute, but first, I think the biggest news is still that Chivas is not winning. That Almeida is still struggling to find any type of formation. It looks like the team has no mids, and they're trying to do coming out of the wings. Forwards are not playing, or not getting those passes. Omar Bravo, lots of talking and what's going on with him. Tom, you're there in Guadalajara, and obviously we keep talking about this. I still don't believe Almeida should go, but I have a question for you, and specifically with Omar Bravo, who we've seen, obviously take a dip. It could be because he didn't have like a workhorse like Fierro, which we saw last season, really help him out. But what's going on with Bravo? And it really is. There are no forwards, and expecting. Does it all fall on him on the scoring? And are there chances being created, or is it all of the the team that's going on? Aside from the Vergaras in the institution, which happens almost every year of the problems. But what's going on?
Well, Omar Bravo had an absolutely amazing 2015, but he's 35, and in a couple of weeks he'll be 36. So there's only so much you can rely on a player that age. And I think that there's a lack of foresight really from the organisation's point of view to not bring in another striker. When I say another striker, an established Liga MX known striker who at least can come on and do a job. I mean, you've got Zaldivar, who I've not seen enough of. Or from what I've seen, I've not seen that he is ready now to be a starter in the Liga MX and banging goals. You've got a lot of very, very good strikers in this league, and Chivas are weak in that position. You've got Michel Vasquez, who has never shown himself to be a Liga MX standard striker, and those are the three strikers you've got. So immediately, if Omar Bravo isn't playing well, you're struggling. You're struggling for goals.
No, I think that's the problem. Is it a tactical change, though, because of what he played last season and what he's playing now is affecting him?
No, I think the tactics have roughly been the same. I mean, apart from...
well, that's where with the obviously Fierro not being there and using of last season was, they were working together.
No, but he's still got good players around him. He's still got Raul Lopez swinging in the crosses from the right. So I don't think it's anything tactical. I just think it's a striker having a bad patch of form. But it's accentuated so much because Chivas have got nothing else. And Bravo was so good in 2015. I honestly think it's that simple.
To me, that's the failure of Chivas this offseason. Yes, you brought in Pineda. You brought in...
Great Gullit.
And they're great players, and they score goals. But, that's not their entire job. And especially when you try and ask them to do something a little more defensive, maybe than they've been asked to at their previous clubs, then I think it's difficult. And when your transfer strategy, to me, from the outside, seemed like it relied on bringing in Pulido, which was never going to be easy, even if it did come off. It didn't come off. They don't have a forward, and I think they're living with the consequences of that. They're living with the failing in the transfer market.
No, Bravo had 10 goals last season. It doesn't look like he's going to be hitting that point anywhere soon. We're already in week 5, and I highly doubt that he's going to be hitting that point. He's the focal point of the offense, and when you don't have a backup plan for that, and when, as Tom mentioned, when you don't have someone just as strong on the bench. Like, so what do you do when he doesn't score? It's unfortunate for Chivas, and it's unfortunate too because of what Bravo represents. What happens if you were to bench him? What happens if you were to bench a player? Would there be a lot of players in the starting 11 who'd possibly be bothered by that as well? And I think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean they gave him a massive contract. I mean, obviously these things are easy with hindsight. His contract ran out in December, and they gave him a massive new contract. And it's like, obviously, now when he's not playing so well, and it's like, he really wanted to go to MLS. He's a player who wanted to live in the States. He wanted to take his family over there and probably settle down there. I mean, that was what he was planning. But Chivas came up with a massive contract because he's the club's highest ever goal scorer now. So I think that changed things. But I feel like Bravo doesn't have that goal now, if you know what I mean. He's not chasing that Chavarez' big historic milestone there. But I think with Bravo, and I think throughout all Chivas now, the players, I think it's happened. The same thing that's happened with other managers. The players are losing confidence, and they changed the system on Sunday. Yeah, they changed the system on Sunday. They played. Kind of 5-2-3 formation.
So Sila was in the starting 11, which was interesting to see.
Libero, but yeah, there's a lack of confidence. The defenders. I mean, how can you play against 10 men? I don't think I've ever seen a team play against 10 men and give away 3 such clear chances. I don't know, maybe that's an exaggeration, but it just seemed like Chivas. Yeah, they did create. They were swinging balls.
Cholos kind of did it on Friday, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, Toluca have also created 3 unbelievable chances that they should have scored from. So it's like, I don't know, I just think Chivas now, the confidence has gone, and it's now it really is an uphill struggle for Almeida to get the group back together and get them winning. They need to win the game, because if not, then it's just a snowball that's going to keep on growing.
Well, they're not going to win next week.
Against Leon on Sunday?
No, they could win. But, talk about these loser teams that still have not won.
Loser teams.
And I'm saying loser teams because they still have not won. I'll pose this question to you guys. Out of Dorados, Chivas, and Veracruz, is it?
No, it's Morelia. Morelia after that, yeah.
That haven't won, that have not won.
Oh, that haven't won a game.
Yeah. So
Veracruz,
Veracruz, Dorados, and Chivas that have not won a game. Out of those 3, who will be the first one to win?
Not Dorados.
It won't be Dorados.
I don't know who they're playing next week, but not them.
Dorados is playing Colombia.
Oh, Dorados. Yeah, I think I saw. I mean, they haven't scored a goal yet.
We're gonna say.
I think I saw something. It's like they have the 5th worst start ever in I think in short tournaments, but just in the history of the league. So I don't think they haven't scored a goal yet. There's just nothing to indicate that they're worthy of being a Liga MX club, to be perfectly honest.
Another thought that crossed my mind, I know it's controversial this, but not the players, but in terms of the institution, do they even want to be? I mean, they're owned by the same people as Xolos. And I'm not sure if that organization, Grupo Caliente, is ready. I mean, I think they were quite happy to have Dorados as kind of the farm team in the 2nd division, to send kind of young Tijuana players, and then when they were ready, bring them up. I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing out a conspiracy theory there, but No,
that's an excellent point. I completely forgot. I don't know why. I completely forgot the name of the new manager they just hired. Exactly. Yeah. I don't know if he'll be able to bring anything different for the club, but yeah, there's just nothing to indicate that there's going to be anything entirely different. There's nothing to indicate that they're going to find a way. There's nothing to indicate they're going to score a goal, and it's really it's embarrassing when you see how the team has played as well.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be Veracruz that breaks the mark. They've got America visiting, I think, this weekend. That's going to be a tough game on Friday. I'm surprised that they don't have a win yet. I mean, I think that their defense has been pretty poor, but at the same time, you look at how good Furchek played, how well he played with Albin. Their attack was pretty solid. Even last tournament, the tournament before that, I think that's my pick, probably just because I think that they have the most potential to break out. Chivas, I don't think Chivas is a bad team. I don't think they're a horrible team, but they're definitely not a good team. I don't think anything is going to change with them. I think they're going to kind of be continuing to do the same thing. I can see Veracruz starting to get a little bit of form, get a little bit of momentum. So
Yeah,
I'll go with Veracruz.
I think Veracruz, what's happened this season is the off-the-field stuff. I really think they've had so much controversy, and it started last season with that quarterfinal against Pumas when they were blaming the ref and they were doing, I don't know. And then this season, obviously, with the owner, he was kind of shouting in the face of the refereing commissioner. It just looked all bad, and I think the whole institution were kind of like, there's a lot of negativity around there. But anyway, I've got a question for Cesar and John, because I know they're going regular to Tijuana games, but Tijuana, I think, a club that haven't done well in recent seasons. I think since they won the championship, they've only reached one playoff. And that was they scraped in at the last minute. I mean, it's not it's an organisation that burst onto the scene in Mexican football, but ever since hasn't really done much. And now 6 points from the first 5 games, 1 win in the first 5. Miguel Herrera, this big name coach. A lot expected from him, but I mean, what's the atmosphere and how big a job has he got to kind of lift this team and make it one that's capable of regularly making the playoffs as a minimum?
I think there's still. I mean, it's early this season. I mean, there have only been 5 games so far. I mean, Piojo just showed up. I think a key player like Juninho just showed up as well. I think he could be an important figure to the team. Whether that means that they're going to find immediate results, I don't think so. Maybe they'll find something next season. Maybe I think if everything clicks and there are no serious injuries, maybe at the best they'll finish 6th or 7th, maybe 8th at the very best. I don't know. I think before Piojo showed up, it's been a while, and I think we've talked about this in the show. Before Tijuana had character or identity or something to really make them stand out. I mean, for lack of a better word, they kind of felt bland, And I think Piojo represents something that's a step in the right direction. He's a presence. He adds a little bit of excitement. I think it's still a little early. I think if Tijuana fans are expecting something positive, as I mentioned, it may not be something until next season, if we're going to be honest.
I was actually kind of thinking along the same track. I mean, I think that once the Chile talk died down, Miguel Herrera said, I'm focused on this team. I'm not using this as a stepping stone job. My contract is for 3 years. I'm going to see it out. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, partly he's not going to get any more offers if he can't get Tijuana into the Liga, right? But, I mean, I think you look at Mohamed needing a year in America before he got them there. Herrera's even needed, a little bit of time before he was able to take America to the heights that he did. So I do think that it takes time for, not that his system is overly technical, but I think that, he did just get Juninho in. Juninho's not used to the league. He's definitely adjusting. They just brought in another forward, which I think was necessary. Dairo Moreno, obviously a great talent, but I'm not sure that he can really carry the load. I wonder if they might be able to string a couple results together, because they are going to Tigres this next week. That's going to be tough. But then they have Morelia and Chivas. I could see them getting results from that and starting to get a little run, and maybe, like you said, sneaking into the bottom spots. And once you make the Liga, I think that things start to move for you. I think that the belief starts to return. But yeah, there's not. There was a lot of excitement when that team first came in. Obviously, quick success leads to quick excitement, but I think that if they could get a playoff berth again, then you might be talking. But it won't be easy. I think they could, though.
I'm looking at the squad now, and I'm just like, I just don't see, taking Herrera out of the equation. I just don't see like a strong squad that is a.
No.
I'm not saying it's a terrible squad, but you look at Gandolfi, who's now 35. Obviously, he's been brilliant for him. But Nunez has been around so long there as well. You look at the likes of Juan Carlos Valenzuela, and it's like, is that. I don't know.
If we're going to talk about, you could say Federico Villar too,
Villar is like, I don't know. It doesn't. Cholos at the minute don't excite me. I was just wondering if.
No. I think
they have guys coming through. I think they have. When you look at. Go ahead, Cesar.
Okay, I think it's going to take individuals. I think it's going to take individual players from the team. Now, as I mentioned, I think if there are a few injuries, then that's when people should really start to worry. And I wrote this down. I think Carlos Guzman, I think he's a player to watch.
Yeah.
As right back, he's actually been very excited. I think, and he actually had a shot in the last game, which was just inches away from giving Xolos the win. You look at a player like Juninho, which might take a little bit longer time. Henry Martin, Dairo Moreno. But that being said, they're not the most exciting players, but if those players don't provide, then they could, at the same time, if we're looking the other way around, they could easily fall 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and struggle. But I think Piojo he's the right person to be this catalyst, like emotionally at least, for this team. But I think he's going to need more time.
I also think that Tom hit a very interesting point, which is that the fact that Miguel Herrera's system relies on having pretty good defenders, and the defenders are just old. But I think when you look at the U20 championship that they lost it to in the final, they have some young guys coming through. Obviously, that's not going to manifest itself this year, next year. But I think that they've done a good job building for the future. So if they do stay in with Piojo stays with them, you could see results in the future for sure. But right now, their defense I think is probably a little too old to really as anything.
Leighton Jimenez,
but I think that's what they need. I know they've invested so much in that youth structure, and I think that's what they need now. But I just feel that they're in debt a little bit because I don't think enough of those players have come through.
Yeah, no, that's entirely true.
And I thought they would do it. A couple of years ago, I thought, right, there's a few really good young, promising players. Let's see. But obviously with the U20 Championship, let's see. And I think Herrera's pretty good, to be fair, with the young players. He's quite straight and he's quite honest with them.
The other thing that I think hit them was Dorados getting promoted, because a lot of those depth players that you mentioned, Tom, they're owned by the same group. You look at the roster. A lot of those guys came through Tijuana. Either are still on the books there or on loan, or are now Dorados property, but could easily come back to Tijuana or are from there. So I think that might have hit them a little bit in the depth department, because essentially you went from having to field one Liga MX team to now having to split that talent between two. So I think that hit them a little bit as well.
Yeah, I think fans of Tijuana will just have to be patient. I think if at the very best, as I mentioned, maybe 6th, 7th, or 8th this season, at the very best. But I think if they ultimately want to see results, if they ultimately see someone like Juninho, who I think could be a very important figure of this team, and I've gotten a chance to watch his passing game, which has been actually really entertaining to watch. I think they're going to have to wait until next season.
Well, that's a good talk about Cholos. I love the San Diego love. Now that John and Cesar.
No, I'm still trying to figure out Tijuana. As I think I mentioned this, but I got lost the past couple times, and I blame Verizon for that. They told me that I'd be able to have. They told me I would have data down there, and then I crossed the border.
It's really easy. Just head north, and you're gonna hit a wall, and then just go towards the border.
No, it's more difficult than you think it is. It's like 11 o'clock. I'm by myself.
Just head north.
The border.
Head north, and then you got to go down the little canal. If you go down the canal, then there's the wall. Then all you got to do is head south or north to get to the border. I mean, it's
like the film Born in East LA. I can imagine. I don't know if you've seen it, but I can imagine Cesar one day
he's gonna try to get back in.
Trying to get back in.
I'm not gonna. I double, triple check that I have my passport just because I. Especially, I think I've told you guys, but there's a doppelganger with, my same name in the U.S. who, he commits a lot of crimes, and we have the same birthday, so I have to be on top of it.
Dress the same, go to the same places, and do the same irresponsible things. I don't know.
I don't know who this Cesar Hernandez is.
All right, guys. Well, looking at next weekend, just reviewing the games, if you saw them, Pumas, Pachuca tied, Guadalajara and Toluca tied, León. And then just speak, briefly, we talked a little bit about it, having, now that Thena is in helm and seeing his, how defensive already. I didn't think we would see his hand on the team already, and maybe it was just luck, but we'll see how it is.
It's weird how sometimes a manager's named and you automatically, Tena's a good manager, he's done a lot, but automatically you kind of raise your eyebrow. I don't know. I don't know, just weird, isn't it? How Tena, León, and then I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't excited about it.
No, we'll see how it goes. Monterrey, I think a leader in winning and everything that's happened great in Monterrey, but against it was Dorados. Yeah. Puebla, which I think is playing great football. Excited to see Puebla.
Their B team. I mentioned this on Twitter, but nine of their starters. That was their first start of the season against Atlas.
Gosh, Atlas, without what's going on. America Santos, probably the most exciting game of the week because Oribe Peralta coming back and scoring, not celebrating, and then And Tijuana, Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul getting the tie. Chiapas, Tigres. Chiapas going up, and it looked like a great goal. I thought it was going to be an amazing game. Chiapas, starting to score early, but then Gignac, the magic of Gignac. And then Querétaro and Veracruz over the weekend. For next week, guys, what are we looking for? What's the most exciting game that we're seeing? América, Veracruz, Monterrey, Santos, Querétaro, Cruz Azul, Tigres, Tijuana, Dorados, Pumas.
Santos, Monterrey. That's a good one right there on Friday night. Just because Santos in the attack, they're starting to click a little bit, and they've done very well at home. I think it's only been 2 home games actually, but I think if I remember correctly, I don't think they've allowed a goal at home. It's only been 2 matches, but someone will have to double check on this. So that match against Monterrey will be an excellent test for both of those squads, actually.
Toluca, Atlas, Guadalajara, León, Pachuca, Puebla.
That's the one I like. I just think that you look at Pachuca. Sure, they fell off the top of the table, but they got a late goal. I thought they were pretty resilient against Pumas. Pumas had a really good first half. I thought they showed a little bit of the form that they showed in the previous tournament in that game on Sunday. So. That's the one I'll be watching. I'll be watching all of them, of course. But I think that's a game that I'm pretty excited for to see if Puebla. I think they're undefeated in their last 3. If they are able to kind of prove that the Atlas game wasn't a fluke, or if Pachuca is really able to show that they're a real title contender, I think that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm going for 2, and not necessarily ones that stand out, but Dorados against Pumas. I think we've seen
that's gonna be good.
There's definitely a bit of pressure. Not saying Memo Vasquez's job's under threat, but it's been a poor. I seen a headline somewhere saying Pumas in crisis, and I'm like,
can we no, but Tom, can we say that there is something wrong with Pumas? Like I know that they're playing late.
They have a preseason. It was pretty impressive what they did last season, and they had such a short break, before this one.
I know, but there's already we're in the 5th week in. Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen that Pumas. I mean, when they lose one more game, can we say, okay, there's something wrong with Pumas?
To be fair, also Pumas had a bad start to the last season as well, and then they picked things up. I don't think it was up to the 5th season. I think it was up to week 4. Yeah.
I think they overachieved last season. I don't think I don't think they were a team that
fluke.
If it was a normal league, then they'll be top 2, 3. You know what I mean? I don't think they're a bad team either. But yeah, I think Cesar's right. They're just starting the tournament. But that's exactly. That conversation is why it's a big game for them, because Dorados have been so poor, and you feel like Pumas, so much pressure on Pumas to go and win there now. I mean, for everybody have to beat Dorados, and then Dorados as well. If a miracle is to happen and they are going to put pressure on Chivas or Morelia, then you feel like they at least have to be winning these games at home. And then the other one is pretty similar, but Chivas against León. I mean, I know León are up there in 5th place on 9 points, but Tena needs a result early on in his kind of reign, and Chivas can't win, so it's like one of those where both teams you feel really do need a win there.
Atlas Toluca, Rafa Marquez didn't look good.
Toluca, I'll probably sleep in. I don't know.
At all. I haven't seen that.
When is that game?
Rafa playing in the last weekend.
Friday? I'll pass that.
So, and what we see, guys. But Liga MX, every week we have a new leader, and it's pretty much what happens in Liga MX on a consistent basis, and we'll see when hopefully Tigres, which I still think is probably the best team so far, coming back, and now Gignac already with the goals that they have. But anyone else, if I would have to say players that have surprised you already 5 weeks in, that we're already talking about, goal leaders or anyone else that you see that are doing things really well, that stand out?
I think for me, Orbelin Pineda. I think Chivas sometimes it kind of feels like this black hole, just like players come in and they just struggle. There's so much pressure for the team, but he kind of hit the ground running. And I think if you're going to look at one of the few bright spots from within that starting 11 from Chivas, I think Orbelin Pineda is one of those players that kind of stands out. And he's just hit the ground running. He's done an excellent job. So I think even though he's a very talented player, I didn't expect him to step up as much as he has for Chivas.
All right, anyone else?
Probably Carlos Sanchez made the immediate impact that he has in Monterrey. I thought he would need a little bit more of an adjustment period. It looks like he's been playing with Monterrey for quite some time now.
Yeah.
The other guys, the newcomers that I thought would also struggle, I've watched him for a long time, watching U.S. soccer as well as Mexican soccer, but Omar Gonzalez,
yeah.
I think he's slotted right in, been a really good defender, obviously getting before. And his partner, Oscar Miguel, the Colombian, he's a guy they struggle to do so. So I think the fact that those two have gelled so quickly has been really impressive.
Well, good. Good to see you guys. Well, it looks like that is our cue to end the show, and we must end it. I think we got a little bit over an hour. It always messes up when we have some problems, technical differences. But thank you all for listening and watching this edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. All of you guys.
Really quickly.
Go ahead, Cesar.
Want a one-word answer from everybody. At the Colorful Kit asked us kind of a random tangent, but just who's your starting goalkeeper at the Copa America, and why is it not Memo? For me, it's Talavera. I was actually interesting. If you guys got to decide, even though I know Talavera is in the Olympics, but for you guys, who would your starting goalkeeper be at the Copa America for Mexico?
Talavera. I'm a big fan of Talavera. I agree with Osorio when he says he could play in like the Premier League. I think he's a really good goalkeeper.
I'm going with Chuy Corona because Talavera is going to play the Olympics.
Ooh. I picked that. I picked that.
All right, 3.
Well, no, I think it should be Talavera, but I don't know. I can even see Memo. I think,
that's
it's like, well, I can see Memo, Juan Carlos Osorio just say, you know what, he wasn't playing when he came into the World Cup, and
dust him off from like all that dust he's been accumulating over the Malaga bench.
Maybe, I don't know. I think it's a great question for our friend, the Colorful Kid. Definitely follow him. He's got a lot of inside knowledge. Gives you a great outlook over the Europeos. Great guy too. All right, guys. Well, thank you to all on the chat. I went a little absent because somebody said, you made it big on YouTube when you have trolls, and and when I have to block people that are coming on there. We actually had somebody from Brazil, put a bunch of like a spam on there, and I'm cleaning it up while I'm hosting. So that's kind of great. We're proud that people think we have large enough audience and they want to advertise their spam, or we have people that are coming in and want to take over the chat, but we have the guys there. So thank you to all. We're reading it. La Selección Azteca, Tecadios, Pancho Villas Army, Oscar Nanco, Jason Markwood's part of the show, and he's on the chat also. And Joel, a lot of people. Ricardo Adobato. So lots of people on there. Thank you so much. For all of you guys listening to us on iTunes right now, is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Thank you. We appreciate the love on the iTunes. Please give us a little review on iTunes if you're listening to us. Go into it and type a little thing what you think about us. I think we'd love to hear your thoughts on the iTunes and see the review page. And also, all of you guys that are on the YouTube page right now, hit subscribe. You already have. If you have not subscribed, you're letting us down. Definitely hit subscribe. Trying to get the number up to 1,000 followers to help us out. So please help us out by subscribing on the channel. But guys, thanks again to Tom, who ESPN FC, who also in ESPN Sports Center got some chance. So he's getting those TV deals now. We'll see where. Thank you so much, Tom. John Arnold from Goal.com, been a great friend. When we go to Mexico games and have fun and press conference. So awesome to have you on the show. Definitely would have you back. Thanks for coming on, man. And Cesar Hernandez.
I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, Cesar, you know him from ESPN FC also. Has a great article come out once a month, the top 25 Mexican players. Stirs a lot of debate and controversy, so a lot of fun stuff.
That and you'll find me at any other random bar in the San Diego area and just bother me and make fun of me for my Mexico top 25, which I don't choose all. It's everyone votes on that. So.
Everyone votes, right? Chicharito came back.
By the man at Tijuana and Tijuana.
Eventually, I gotta get my century, man. Once I get my century, I just got a new address. So.
All right, guys. Well, so you can find me on Twitter on footmexsource.com. Some articles here and there following El Trio around. Thank you so much for watching us, for listening to us. We'll see you all next week. Actually, we might have a quick show before the Senegal game. We'll see if we have the guys around to do a preview. And, before we leave, we also started this nice little Mexican Soccer Show Express. Last week we kind of reviewed Tom and I on small topics, with 15 to 20 minutes to talk. That usually comes out on Thursday night. So thank you all. Find us on Twitter and on Facebook, Mexican Soccer Show. We'll see you all next week. Talk to you later.